Lesson 6: Discrimination of the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. SOGIE in the Philippines. Definition of terms. SOGIE, an acronym of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Aspect of gender of person which must be considered and given attention. Anti-discriminatory bill, a purpose legislation before the Philippines Congress intended to prevent various economic and public accommodation related act of discrimination against people based on their SOGIE. Introduction. Universal Policy. Article 2, 1, 3, and 26 of the Convention provide for the respect, equality, and non-discrimination of all individuals on the ground of their inter alia, race, color, and sex. In the landmark decision of Tonen B. Arstrad in 1994, and is upon not only that the reference to sex in Article 2 and 1 and 26 must be taken include sexual orientation, but also that law discriminalize consensual homosexual act expressly violates the privacy protection of the law. National and local policies. LGU from different cities all over the Philippines have been proactive in passing and filing city organizes banning LGBT discrimination. Presently, the anti-discriminatory bill is still pending before the Congress. This bill is expected to sign into law before the end of the 30th administration. Prior to this bill, several LGUs have enacted ordinance and resolution to address this issue. Quezon City, anti-discrimination in employment was enacted in 2004, and LGBT-friendly provisions are supplemented in the Quezon City Gender and Development Ordinance. Albay Province and Bacolod City face an anti-discrimination ordinance. Angeles City only faced anti-discrimination legislation but created a gay right desk as well. In the House of Representative Raymond Palatino of the Kabataan Party List filed House Resolution number 1333, which seeks investigate prejudicial, discriminatory, and unjust practice and policy against LGBT students implemented and literated in school, partnering with the DepEd and other government agencies to explore the inclusion of a comprehensive gender curriculum on the basics and secondary education in vocational and technical school to incorporate discussion on issue of LGBT person. In May of 2012, the DepEd Order number 40 or the DepEd Child Protection Policy to guarantee the protection of children in school from any form of violence, abuse, or exploitation regardless of sexual orientation and gender identity. Of state discrimination in society. The state of LGBT individuals anticipate discrimination of the basis of SOGIE within the Philippine society and social institution. Being young and not conforming to the gender roles assigned to one sex increases the rates of discrimination and abuse for LGBT persons. The victimization is aggravated by the absence of support mechanisms and school policies addressing this concern, as well as the failure of the school to safeguard students from being abused by other students, staff, administration, and teacher. The discrimination but prevent this individual from the enjoyment of the numerous others' rights in the covenant as well. Homophobia. The stigma and prejudice toward LGBT persons are very present within Filipino society, creating a dangerous climate of hostility toward LGBT people. LGBT youth are often targeted by parents who, upon discovering their child's sexual orientation and or gender identity, feel compelled to inflict physical harm on their out of protection or in attempt to prevent their child from expressing their sexual. Discrimination by the Catholic Church. The Catholic Bishop Conference of the Philippines, CBCF, and Episcopal Commission on Family and Life, ECFL, has been preventively discriminated for the removal of sex, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity in the Comprehensive Anti-Discrimination Ordinance filed in the Senate and the House of Representatives, claiming that including will only create problems regarding ethics, marriage, the family, and religion freedom, and reason that the different in sex or gender does not belong to the same level of different in race, color, religion, or ethnicity. Antagonists of the anti-discrimination bill claim that the passage on an anti-discrimination legislation will open the door for same-sex marriage. A provision allowing for same-sex marriage was not present in anti-discrimination bill at the time of its introduction, first failing and has never been added. Participation of the member of LGBTQ in the public life. Article 25 of Convention provides for each citizen to participate in public affairs, to vote, and to have equal access to public service in the country. These rights are provided free of unreasonable restriction and free from distinction made on the basis of sex, which as mentioned above include sexual orientation. Discrimination in the military. Through their media announcements, it seemed on the surface that the Philippine military and the police are adhering to the non-discrimination clause of the Philippines Constitution, Act 2 and the ICCPR by its declaration of openness to admit gays, lesbian, and bisexual person in military and police service. Upon closer inspection, the additional condition required from gay, lesbian, and bisexual applicants engaged demonstrate flattering prejudice and negative stereotype toward LGBT person. Also, the military's parents' strict adherence exclusively toward heterosexualized gender binary or masculine and feminine. Rules discriminate against those that fall short with this standard and are considered as the benchmark of what constitutes being designs proper and respectful. Thank you for listening.